you I don't give a whatever you talk about. And you know
no impulse control. This is the reason why Austin Metcalf is dead. Because this is a response that is told. This is the response they teach their young people to have. This is the response that the mothers, the black mothers in this community. This community does not teach its people to respect personal boundaries. It does not teach people to talk with respect. And that's why Austin Metcalf said, because of your failure as black parents, failures as black parents, teaching the youth to kill.
Look at this. Look at this.
Me and you come back. Me and you.
There are cameras not allowed inside the courthouse, but if you look behind me, check out what's happening outside the courtroom here. You have protesters on both sides. They've been arguing with each other, antagonizing each other. We have the sheriff's office here making sure that things don't get out of control. You know, this case, it has sparked some strong emotions. Karmelo Anthony's defense today arguing this is a case of self-defense. Prosecutors, on the other hand, calling it a, quote, provoked, unjustified murder.
I've seen all the documents in this case, and we hear where, and we've seen the affidavit where Karmelo Anthony says, you know, he put his hands on me, but I told him not to. But what I didn't realize is that he's actually crying, because when you hear the body-worn camera, you can hear him crying. And he's saying yes sir, no sir to the officer. And one of the things that both sides pointed out, he doesn't resist, he doesn't do anything, he's very compliant with what the officers are saying, and he's emotional at points throughout that body-worn camera.
Right. And you can definitely see at one point you can hear Karmelo Anthony almost hysterical, crying, and the prosecution and the defense sort of got into this little back and forth exchange through the witnesses, talking about, well, he was sort of flat when he was in the car, and while he was during the ride back, you know, he was kind of flat, and we didn't get to see that. The camera would probably be far too long, and the jury would certainly lose interest. But that's one of the footballs that we saw go back and forth, is how much contrition? Is this something that he sort of turned on and off? And we also heard testimony that really dovetailed with that later on, which was, well, he was walking away at times, maybe running away. It was certainly very wet out there, so I think that it really goes to his emotional state.
Well, and then you hear Cortez say, oh, but when he was in the car, he was calm, cool, collected, but then the defense comes back and they said, but we didn't see all of it. You didn't present, but just a small portion. And if you listen to all of it, you're going to hear him emotional throughout the...
Let's talk about the conversation. It wasn't much of a conversation. So Eduardo Cortez, the officer Cortez, has radios the other officers and says, I have the alleged suspect. And Karmelo Anthony, right after him, says, this is not alleged, I did it. Where does that, how does that sort of play into probably the state right now?
Well, if I'm Karmelo Anthony and I'm his lawyers, I'm going right back to what we were just talking about, and that's the contrition, the excitement, the fact that we're not hiding this. If you were to, if you see a murder case, for instance, with a shop owner that kills somebody who is trying to stealing, that guy's going to call 911 and they're going to cooperate with the police every time. So if I'm the defense, that's sort of how I'm playing that. That this was a confession, that this was there was nothing to hide here. And if I'm the prosecutor, I'm trying to do the opposite, right? I'm trying to show that this was flat, that it's a confession, and I sort of...
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in, and first and foremost, I do want to once again send condolences and prayers over to everybody involved and connected with this storyline. Losing somebody that you love and care about is most definitely something that's traumatic in a situation like this, and then anybody else having to go through it with the defense and everything, that the burdens that it puts on your family as well. Most definitely prayers up. And for those who are concerned and think that they can question Ant and what I stand for, I'm connected to God. So all these situations are that, but I'ma always have respect for death, and that's in the eyes of God. All this stuff going on earth, You need to know that ain't how I live. And how I've been pressing this line, I stand on what I stand on. I stand on the facts, and I stand on speaking the real. And that's documented. As I want to come update y'all with this, as last year I got called a racist. I said I was dumb. I got told I was dumb. I was stupid. I was ignorant. And once again, a racist, which we all know is not true, because I said Karmelo Anthony will not be found guilty in the state of Texas for murder legally when it comes to this case right here. And I had a links in the description where you can watch the clips in the beginning in full from Fox, and then also WFAA, where they came outside and talked yesterday and gave more insight on what was being played inside the courtroom, the prosecutors and the defense team, they angles and how they was talking about things. Now, we need to be all the way transparent and factual here. No reason to fake it. We live in America. It's going to always be racist. It's going to always be racism. It's never going away. You can run from it. You can duck it. You can hide it. You can act like people are not seeing race inside of that courtroom. I'm not doing that sugarcoat stuff to protect y'all feelings and y'all, how y'all think and how you want to see it and be fake and lie to yourself, fam. Even the chaos outside the courtroom is letting you know what humans are thinking in this. Now, it ultimately comes down to the jury, but legally, which I need to know, because we have other cases where I can give you clear examples inside of Texas where people did not get convicted of murder with situations that were far more brutal and way worse than Karmelo Anthony's. First, understand, you have to connect everything in the definition of murder for the jury to legally connect him and send him to prison for that without them coming back on an appeal or calling it a mistrial or anything of the sort. To find someone guilty of first-degree murder, a prosecutor must prove the defendant committed an unlawful killing with intent and premeditation, or that the death occurred during the commission of certain dangerous felonies. The case must be built on specific legal elements and proven beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. Beyond a reasonable doubt that he intended to kill this person is what they're saying. Key elements of the crime. To secure a conviction, the prosecutor must establish the following: intent, malice, aforethought. The defendant had the specific purpose of causing another person's death or acted with a conscious disregard for human life. Premeditation and deliberation. The defendant planned, weighed, or reflected upon their decision to kill before taking action. This separates first-degree murder from impulsive second-degree murder. The law does not require the plan to be made days in advance. Even a very brief moment of reflection is sufficient in many jurisdictions. Felony murder. Alternative. Many jurisdictions classify as death that occurs during the commission of an inherently dangerous felony, such as kidnapping, arson, rape, armed robbery. A first-degree murder, even if there was no prior intent to kill. Not true. It can fall under those things. But when the evidence comes out, he was crying on the scene. The evidence comes out. It's not like he went there planning this. It started raining. He got up under that team's tent because he wanted to get out of the rain, and his team did not have a tent. He sat there. He was not breaking the law being under that tent. Yes, you can feel how you want to feel. It's not about how you feel. It's about what the law and the words is. And these words have meaning. He wasn't breaking the law being there. He also had the knife, right? It was a folding knife. They put their hands on him first, no matter what was said. Once you put your hands on somebody, the size difference matters. 50 to 60 pounds heavier, bigger. It's a group of people there around him. Now, it's just them too where it gets physical with them. But once you put your hands on somebody, they have a right to defend themselves. Y'all keep saying, well, he had a knife. He had a knife. Look here, bro. Keep your hands to yourself at all times, because we've seen several times in this country of America where people have had their hands put on somebody, or they fear for their life, and they got away from a kill from it when people didn't even have a weapon. Let's go back to George Zimmerman. He shot and killed somebody that he approached, a teenager, a kid that he was older than, a grown man. They got into a physical altercation. He shoots and kills him. Now let's go to Rick Child. This recent case right here. Shot him in the back, running away. So they pursued him. They got away with that situation right there. said, hey, I was defending my son. He had a gun pointed at him. Of course, the cameras wasn't there, which the witnesses say that they never seen him point a gun. He walked out the store at first. They started pursuing him outside. He never posed a threat. He takes off running. They're running after him. He's shot in the back, meaning he's turned around. Now, they say, well, hey, I was defending my son, and they say that that was a reasonable doubt there that I completely disagree with. Well, he doesn't get with anything. He just now going free. It wasn't found guilty on this case because of what they say is reasonable doubt with the malice of this case. But in this situation right here, you touch me, I stab you. He didn't stab him multiple times. He cried on the scene. He didn't say, I didn't do it. He said, hey, I did it. He was hysterical. The lady told y'all directly. I read all the transcripts and I read everything, but hearing it is different because you could hear him crying, meaning this wasn't something that was maliciously done. It's an unfortunate situation on how this happened. I would rather it not happen. I would rather him, Karmelo, not going through this case, and I would rather him still be alive so he can be there and do what he got to do. But then also Karmelo not have to face this because he going to have to deal with this for the rest of his life now. So I'm saying that in the regard of him, Karmelo, being able to live peacefully and not even have to live through this. He could have just been going to college right now and not had to have this whole situation he got to face. And then him, he just being off with his family, doing whatever he doing. We avoid this all around here. But what we not going to do is act like that. There's another situation out here in Texas, Case and Allison. And it's crazy because it was a stabbing. The same time last year when their situation happened, he started going to trial for his. He stabbed a kid in school. They were beefing prior. They had already had altercations. There was already a situation. They didn't like each other. Words were exchanged. A possible fight was discussed. He ended up running to them in school, inside the bathroom, stabbed the guy up, killed him. They did fight, whatever, things of that nature. But he pulled out the knife, started stabbing him. Now, after that situation, he fled the school. They didn't find him guilty on murder. They found him guilty on negligent homicide. And with that, there was a state jail sentence for 2 years. Now, they came back later and added on an enhancement and gave him 10. But he did not get found guilty of the murder for stabbing somebody inside the school bathroom at school because of what the jury saw as intent to kill with this murder. That's just what it is here. Y'all can accept it or reject it. If they do lose, there will be appeal off of this situation in court. And it probably more than likely will get reversed on top of the fact you got a jury that is not of his peers. They're going to call that play as well with this because you can't have somebody who's black with a high racial case, a racial intense case, and nobody's black on the jury. They could have moved it to another county and had it done a reselection of everything. They could have pushed it back. They didn't do that. So that is all like another expert, another prosecutor said, we know where that's going to go with that situation right there. It just is what it is. People going to come on here and call me racist, which I'm not. I'm just telling you, it ain't about how you feel. It's not about what you know. It's about what you can prove. And it's about marking off all the dots for you to get a solid, stiff murder conviction that will not be reversed or changed in the future. Tell me what y'all think. We got more coming, more videos, all that. 1000 for shit show. Stay on your pivot.